Hey guys, and welcome back to the parlour for the second part of the custom Escher gang, the final 10. For these particular miniatures, what I thought is I would do the bulk of the conversion and then do the sculpting tidy ups on camera, just so you can see how relatively simple it actually is to tidy up the miniatures. So for this particular box of 10, I bought Forge World's Escher weapon set number 2, and then started to tinker about with them. So here is the first one. I love this one. You've got to go for the classic Harley Quinn hair, haven't you, on at least one of them. So this is obviously the girl that has the ponytail, with the ponytail snipped off at the back, and then the two ponytails from other head sprues from the Escher kit glued on either side, with a Forge World needle rifle. And then I made a... Ooh, that went out of focus. Sorry, I made a sling for it, just to make it a bit cooler. So she's kind of walking towards her target. But as you can see at the back here, we've got an area of hair that is not there anymore. So that's a dead simple process to fix. We're going to use just a very small silicon model shaper, which are, you can get them anywhere, clay shapers, but I use the small ones mostly. And then we're going to get a small soupçon of Greenstuff. Sorry, my workstation's a mess because I've been modelling all morning. So a piece of Greenstuff about that size. You can always put more on, it's just difficult to take off. So here we go. Just gonna wedge that on the back of her head for now. I'm going to try and do this on camera, but I'm going to have to also try and look through. Okay, so once we've got it wedged onto her head, we want to just pull it forward to start off with, and then we want to pull it down and around. And you can see I've got too much on there, so if you pull it a bit harder, you can actually just, at this stage, just pull the excess green stuff off. Okay, so now, whilst I've got the, trying to do this on camera is going to be hard. Whilst I've got the, here comes my daughter when I'm filming, as always. Hello, Poppy. Oh, it's Jacob. I am recording, Jake, so do you want to sod off and I'll talk to you in a bit. Kids, love them. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just pulling the clay shaper up, keeping it wet, through the hair and then down, and I'm following the lines of hair that already existed on the model, which gives me the travel lines I need to make the hair seamless. Okay. There we go. So the first one's hair is now done. See, dead easy. I'm going to just use the same spike and ping them along. So that was a standard posed one. So I can see this one and see if this one needs anything doing to it. This is a standard posed one with the Forge World arms. I've just bent this arm, heated it and bent it. And then on this side I have added another ponytail, snipped off one of these hairdos, and the ponytail here, where it's been snipped away, needs a bit of Greenstuff work, and that's nice and simple. So I'm gonna take a small sausage of Greenstuff, just cutting it off with my scalpel now. Oh God, I've got the worst DTs after 2 bottles of red wine last night, so I'm shaking like I've got some sort of illness. So, well, I do, alcoholism, but okay. So I'm going to take the bit with the point on naturally, the point of the sausage. I'm going to add it to the clay shaper. And then starting up high, you can see I've got the long thread now. Starting up high, I'm going to do that thing where we blend it in again, but this time, because it's actually a thread anyway, the blending becomes quite a lot easier. So we've got the thread all the way down to the point of the hair extension now, and then we're going to put some extra pressure on it with the clay shaper and just pull it away. Okay, and then we're going to take that excess off. Okay, just going to tidy up that little bit there. Sorry, came off camera again. But that one is now done, ready to go. Okie dokie. Next up we have got another standard pose running ganger with another ponytail from one of the ponytail heads snipped off, but at the second bead instead of the fifth bead. And bugger, oh, clearly didn't glue her spike in very well, did I? I'll have to go back to that in a bit. That's pretty seamless, to be honest. Yeah, plastic glue. I don't think that needs any work doing to it, which is nice. Okay, next up we have got this dude, the one that has the ponytail on the back with the normally with the mic set. Didn't want the mic set, don't want any duplicate heads, so she's pretty flawless apart from this area here where the mic set would have been, so we need to put hair in there that matches the hair here, which shouldn't be too difficult, he says, famous last words. What I'm going to do is roll a sausage of hair, but until it's pointed. Go off my finger. There we go. Let's just zoom in on that, like this. Okay, so it's pointed. I actually think that's too much hair, so we don't want to make that mistake. So I'm going to just trim that down a bit more. It's so tempting when you do it. So it looks like such a tiny amount of green stuff when it's actually rolled out, but it always ends up being too much. Okay, so we can see we've got the tiny little sausage of green stuff here. Okay, with the point and the fat bit. I'm going to pick it up using the clay shaper like that, and I'm going to bring it down onto her head and just squidge it on for the minute, being very careful not to squish it into any of the actual detail like the eyes or anything else. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just pull upwards so we've got a smooth transition. Okay, so the hair is now in place, but now what I need to do is cut away the section of the hair I don't want to be in place, which is about here, and I'm using a curved shaper to make that cut as easily as I can. A single kind of cut. Now I am gonna just smooth off the areas where I snipped it, and I'm going to fill those into the cracks where the hairline joined. And then now I am going to run the clay shaper up and start to get some hair grooves. I'm going to pull and run. Okay, and we've got too much at this moment in time, but we knew that was going to happen. So I'm going to wet my fingers and I'm going to take and pull off that upper section. So now you can see what's happened is it's kind of self-regulated. It's filled itself in to the point where the other section was. I'm just going to get this bit of excess green stuff off my shaper, and then let's go back to work. To pull up. quite warm in the studio today, which means the Greenstuff tends to go a bit scrappy. So having a wet tool is something you can do to compensate for that. Okay, so here what I'm doing is working it so it fits in with the other hair. And I'm pulling the hair down now. Okay, what I need to do is go, just to be careful to make sure that this piece of the face is smooth. Right, now with a bit of just paint water on the brush, just going to pull that along with the hair just to tidy it up a wee bit, blow away the excess water. You probably can't see all the hairlines because of the shine, but they're there. Lovely. Okay, sorry that took a long time. So that's that one tidied up. Hopefully not all of them will need any tidying up. This one is the primary Forge World hair, and you can see I've already tidied up the head where it joins, and then I slit down the hair and heated it and bent it away, and then I have mangled up the head with some plastic cement. Okay, now it probably doesn't need it, but I'm a bit of a control freak and I want it to be smooth. So I'm just going to wedge a bit of Greenstuff on her head. Wet the tool. Remove the excess that we did before. Looks like this now, very unsightly. What I'm doing here is just trying to build out the front of the head armour. And now I'm going to pull all of this off and away. I'm going to go back with the clay shaper and I'm going to pull it from the model's face upwards, so into the cracks. Okay, that's good. making sure there's no detail missing, and then we're going to just give it a quick paint with some water. Just going to put that hard edge in. Sorry, just concentrating for a second. Trying to do this whilst having the camera directly in front of my eyes on the bracket overhead is not easy. Okay, so there you go. That one's just tidied up a bit more. She's a very straightforward piece as well. Right, next one we've got. Now this is the girl with the normal ponytails, which I used previously, and then what I've done is snipped off 2 of the ponytails off this head, the 2 front ones, see, and then I've inverted them to give her a nice double ponytail. And because of the joys of plastic cement, that's actually worked out really nicely. I don't think, well, maybe a piece of Greenstuff on the front there just to add a string of hair would be advisable. So I'm just going to roll a small sausage, unsurprisingly, of hair. Okay, I'm just going to stick that on. Oh, no, I'm going to drop it. Slippery little stuff. Okay, just going to wedge that on. Get on. There we go. Okay, push and pull off the excess. Round off the bit on the collar so you keep the detail, and then pull from the bottom up to create a nice hair ridge. There we go, that's another one done. Nice and simple. Okay, now we've got the heavy. Now this is, you can see I did the head separately, so I've resculpted. Actually, when it's dry you can see much better what I'm doing with the hair, can't you? There you go. So the heavy head is again that girl with the ponytail, one of those ones, and then I snipped off another piece of one of the sideways hairdos and then stuck it on that way and then just blended it in. I don't think there's any other Greenstuff work on her. No, she's pretty standard. But that one's done, luckily. Then we have got, I like this one actually, this is the Forge World head of the alternate leader, but with a different set of Forge World hair. So they're not designed to go together, so what I did is obviously stick them together. I snipped out a bit of the hair above and then I resculpted in the hair to give us a nice little badass flamer ganger. I like this one. It's quite a simple pose, but actually it's going to be a nice model when it's painted, I think. And then this one, okay, this is the downward hair that actually I used before on that last model with the ponytail added. That looks fine. And let's have a look. Okay, around here on this side though, you can see where it's been snipped and cut and it looks a bit shite. So we're going to get some Greenstuff, not a lot. bang a bit in, and then what I'm going to do is take this tail end, this flicky end here, and I'm going to push it up. Hang on. Okay, so I'm going to take this tail end, which is what I've just done, and I'm going to push it up and then pull it under so it forms part of the ponytail. And then here I'm going to work all of this up and then away. It's extra stuff I don't need. Then using the flat side of the clay shaper and a bit of saliva, just going to smooth and incorporate that. It's just me blowing away any extra moisture, as we don't want that. Just excuse me, I need to be close to do this, so it has to be off camera. I don't want to screw it up. Okay, we're good. Lovely. Now, what I've done is erased where the hairline would have been by doing that. So let's just have a quick look at the other side. I'm just going to very softly trace in a more defined hairline. Comme ça. Okay, so she's ready to go. Last one, we've got a plasma gunner with another one of those ponytails that I'd snipped off that other hairdo, stuck on the side. The rest is pretty straightforward. As you can see though, and just like with the last one, she's going to need the hair doing, just to replace that section that we snipped off. So let's just wodge a bit on. Now, here's a top tip for you. Everything that you've green stuffed, okay, green stuff does stick pretty well by itself, but it is a bit of a pain in the arse, and every once in a while you'll be doing something with it, and the lump of green stuff that you sculpted directly onto the plastic model will fall off right when you're in the middle of painting it or something, and that is, let me tell you, very, very annoying, and also a bit of a disaster when you've got paint on a Mini and it's all layered up and then you've got a big gap to kind of fill in. So what I always do is, now, having learnt that mistake enough times, is I will wait for the green stuff to dry, and hang on, just putting in this last bit, sorry. Let's give it a nice flick. Let's give it a nice flick. Hang on. Lovely. What I will always do is wait for the green stuff to dry, and then I'll paint it with PVA. Just a thin coat of PVA glue, and the PVA will also act as a smoother for any areas that you've not smoothed with the silicone tool well enough, but it'll also seal in the model. Okay, so for our Escher, we've got plasma gunner, flamer, needle pistol and auto pistol, plasma pistol, auto pistol, flamer and flamer. She's quite badass actually. My personal fave of all of them, sniper. Another Juve with 2 auto pistols. And we've got a multi-melter. See, the hair transplants work really well actually if you snip carefully. Chainsword and flame pistol. And then the heavy. Okay, so that's the second 10. Now I need to obviously wait for those to dry, Greenstuff wise and everything else. In the meantime, I have been busy working on the first 10 and starting to block in the basic colours. So starting the flesh work and the legs and just the hair. So, and because I screwed up the video last time and you couldn't really see them properly, I'll show them all again now. So this one is an altered pose. I swapped the leg from the other running one, the other alternate leg, and then mounted this new lamp on to hide it, and I gave her a slightly different running pose to the normal ones. Here we have the gang leader, and that's just a power sword swap out, nice and simple, and then some Greenstuff tidying up of the cape where it was a bit weak. She's going to be nice, I think. By the way, these are at the stage of miniature painting where I always hate to look at them because they look awful, but that will change. This one's a really dynamic one. This is that same altered swap out. You can see I've extended the trousers and I've extended the tabard hanging from her belt. Completely changed the positioning of this sword arm and the pistol and the head. So she is leaping to stab somebody, which I like. That's quite a nice little pose alteration. You won't see another miniature like that anywhere. This one is just a Space Marine combi weapon multi-melter switched out before I bought the Forge World set, and then I put the other cloak on the back of this one and then had to completely resculpt all the arm and everything in, and this side of the arm is all sculpted in as well, so she's got a coat on. That one is a standard ganger in every way, shape or form. Of course, she's got a sunny bottom, hasn't she? This one is... I just repositioned the arm on this one actually, just heated and moved it. That was an easy one. The heavy, I just took off the chemical flame off the end because it looks shite and drilled the barrel. And she's just a standard model. This one is another one of the leg repositionings. So you can see here I've swapped the leg over so she's running in much tighter, leaning much further forward, and then I cut the shotgun down to make a sawn off and then drilled it out and everything obviously. She's quite a nice pose mini actually. Then we've got the sniper rifle from the set has been altered. So I drilled out the end, I cut off the end of the weapon, drilled it out, stuck a piece of brass rod in it with some greebly bits on the end of an auto gun on the end of it to give her a different sniper rifle. That's it, that's the only change on that one. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, you can see here. I changed the leg to make her walk instead of have it up, so she's flat to the ground. Actually, yeah, you can see, here's what the comparison is. So that's how the model kit is supposed to be for that set of legs, and then here is how I did this one. So it's not a great deal of difference. I just pinned it and then sculpted the calf muscle up to the top, but it would have looked like this one. Don't know if anybody else has ever done this. This is the 10th one of the batch. Let me just get the focus in place. It's the 10th one of the batch, so I went on and did all the pre-shading with the airbrush. I've got to tidy this one up as well, these two are the dog-eared ones. With the pre-shading with the airbrush, and then realised I'd missed one and moved on way further, so this one's going to have to wait for the second 10 in order for her to be catching up. And that is it. So there we go, a nice gang of girls. I look forward to getting some paint on them now. Hopefully this video was viewed the right way round and you can all bear with me. I sincerely apologise for the last one. I must have just twisted my iPhone when I put it on. I know these videos are always rough and ready, and I don't make any money out of YouTube. I don't have anywhere near enough followers or anything else. That's why I don't put adverts and shit in it anymore. I do this just to be, have somebody to talk to when I'm modelling, actually, to be honest. So thanks very much for watching. I love it when you guys take the time to comment. Let me know which one your favourite is. I'm a big fan of this one. I think I might call her Quinn for obvious reasons. And I look forward to the next video, which, when these will be dry, I'll be sticking some paint on them, and hopefully we'll have moved a bit further forward with the first few. Let me know what you think. Actually, I'm thinking about doing that classic terrible idea of going on and just like painting a test model, so just accelerating ahead and just doing one of them completely to finish, so I know what I'm working towards. And that's lovely, and that always works well for that one model, but then it's a pain in the ass to get the others to match and catch up. She's going to be nice, this one. I think she's going to be a really, really nice model. I've got a lot. All this airbrush stuff, this is all airbrush that you can see so far, with the exception of the hair, which is brush painted on. Oh, and the green armour plates, so the base coat's brush painted on. This airbrush stuff is just pre-shaded, so I'm going to go back in with the brush now and pick up all of the legs and the shading and everything else. I wanted a light guide to what I'm going to work towards. So don't assume that the tights or anything on these are anywhere near finished, because they're not. I really want to make these models bright and pop, and just to be some really good models. I think I'll do the 20 gang, and then maybe wait to the next Golden Demon where they do those, where they do Necromunda gangs, or the next major festival, maybe a Salute or something like that, and enter them in. Right, thank you very much for watching. For those of you that were interested in the competition prize that I was working on with the Nurgle champion for the dude, the water effects are just drying now. You can see there's still some cloudiness in there. That will all dry clear, and that's the 5th application of the water effects. And this piece is called The Last Days of Summer. So obviously you can see a Nurgle champion leaking, and then leaking into spring, and all the plants are dying, radiating outwards from there. Morbid. But there you go. Just a bit of fun, and it's going to a guy called Jonathan Delaney, who is one of the competition winners from Poppy's Angels. Right, thanks very much for watching, guys. Have a lovely weekend.